Hello, this is a message for someone who can't sleep at night recently. Okay. And if this message is for you, it is due to a backlog of unprocessed feelings and emotions. And you have been going through a time recently, if this message is for you, where you're doing some sort of inventory of your emotions and your past, and you're coming to realize that you've done a whole lot of suppressing, distracting, and I'm seeing a person that's overstimulated themselves to the point that they couldn't really tell how they were feeling anymore because they were just so overstimulated, okay, all the time. So if this message is for you, you are now in a period of your life where that overstimulation has decreased a lot for whatever reason. Maybe you're just going through a phase or something, but basically what used to be some very deeply entrenched patterns of distraction and overstimulation have been sort of semi-eliminated for a period of time recently, which has forced you to notice yourself and your feelings in a way you hadn't in such a long time that you probably can't even remember. You can't escape right now, if this message is for you, how you feel. And your discomfort. I'm sensing a lot of discomfort and a lot of storytelling that takes place inside your mind to sort of talk yourself through this discomfort, which is a self-soothing mechanism, and is very, it's a very actually healthy thing to do. But what's happened with you, which is something that can happen to many people in a time of pain, where it's painful to really absorb our feelings, sometimes we come up with stories that make our feelings more manageable, okay? So sometimes that is, a version of lying to ourselves, but what you're noticing is that you were self-soothing in ways that were sort of not taking you into account, okay? So even though you thought you were self-soothing, you really weren't catering to yourself, and this was probably because it was a sort of semi-automatic trauma response to stress and pain, rather that you probably even inherited from people who raised you, or you absorbed from the world around you growing up as an example of how to cope with these feelings about life, okay? So what you're realizing now, that your focus has inevitably gone to yourself and your feelings, and you can't hide from your own discomfort, you're starting to see that the ways you were soothing yourself and sort of resulted in you building this life of discomfort for yourself because you were so distracted and overstimulated. Even though that was just a coping mechanism, you ended up agreeing to things and building a life that wasn't the best for you, and certainly was not engineered to soothe you in general. So it's almost like you created a life accidentally. You're coming to realize that it requires incredible amounts of soothing. It's almost like you created more triggers to your destructive coping mechanisms by situations you got yourself in as a way to soothe yourself, okay? So it's like you're coming to these realizations, and it's painful. It's really painful to realize that you almost made things worse for yourself and more difficult to overcome your original wound through trying to cope with this one you had, okay? And so all of these realizations are coming to you, I'm getting in the night. So what I'm getting is a person that I'm seeing it clearly, and it's like you go through the day coping. Life is some sort of battle to you, and you are very task oriented, and you look at life as a sort of mission, and you try to get everything done, and you try to do your best at things. And as you do this, since you look at life like a battle, you also feel like bullets are hitting you, like metaphorical bullets are hitting you, and they're wounding you, and you're just stoically continuing on to your mission to get things done. And then the night comes, and there happens something, if this message is for you in the night, where maybe you become alone, where you are not alone the rest of the day, or something like that. And it's like the whole weight of the battle that is your everyday comes crashing down on you, and you start processing all those micro wounds that you took throughout the day. And the problem that you're really facing right now is that you're not just processing the wounds of the day, you're sort of processing the wounds of decades now, because you were so numb to yourself and so uncatering to your own emotional processes for so long. And because this is the way you approach life unconsciously, this is just how life feels for you, this has resulted in a tremendous backlog of unprocessed wounds, feelings, reactions. I'm also getting intuitions. You're realizing that you have possibly decades of suppressed intuitions. You're starting to realize that there was a different path for you, a path that wasn't the wounded warrior's path. There was also the hero's journey, and you inadvertently took the wounded warrior's path, the tough path, the path where the wound became the identity, and the wound kept getting you in larger and larger wounds and messes. And so now you find yourself in this wounded warrior's path, and you feel like you're seeing your hero's journey now in retrospect, and you're processing also now not just all the things that happened and all the things that could have happened and all of that. You're also processing the grief of these realizations that you had a hero's journey, but you overwhelmed yourself and overstimulated yourself to the point that you didn't see the signs because you were so busy self-soothing, and then you accidentally created a life of so much wounding. That is me against the wall, okay? But my foot. So funny. Anyway, what you need to do here, the message I'm getting, I guess there had to be a little like humorous break to this very heavy message. Maybe that's it. No, yeah, I'm getting that. You need to laugh. You need to find the humor in it. You know those movies, there's a lot of movies where it's like life goes all the worst ways and the hero takes all the wrong turns, but they make a comedy out of it. And so if you look at it that way and you laugh at it all, you will find a way back into your hero's journey. The important part is you're coming to these realizations, and you're able to pivot from here and make different choices moving forward and take care of yourself in a different way so you can build a life that is better for you. So moving forward. So hopefully that was helpful.